So I thought for this time, instead of talking about the anime character stereotypes, we would talk more about the anime genre and demographic types. And I don't mean like action or mecha, I mean more like things that aren't necessarily to figure out just by looking at their names. For example, we're going to start out with seinen. Seinen is the anime demographic type that is aimed towards adult males, and it usually depicts heavy violence, gore, usually sexuality. To give you a frame of reference, Tokyo Ghoul and Blue Gender are two popular seinen anime. On the flip side, there is josei, which is directed towards adult women. Unlike seinen, josei anime typically depicts the normal life of an adult woman, usually in a very mature setting, and the story will typically focus more on very realistic friendships and romance. Nana is probably my favorite josei anime, with Honey and Clover being a distant second. For the younger crowds, we have shonen and shoujo, which is directed towards the age group of about 7 to 17. Shonen, which is the young boy demographic type, usually will depict something like mecha and child soldiers, lots of fighting with a little bit of fan service, you know, just stuff where the good guy is fighting, like Bleach or Naruto. Harems can also fall into the shonen type because really, when we see a story that's based around some singular guy that is single, that has a whole bunch of pretty ladies around him, we can figure out who that's directed towards. Shoujo, on the other hand, is directed towards young girls and will generally have a story around romance or high school friendships. They also are not very long because a lot of the shoujo stories are very story and character development driven, so while shonens will have hundreds of episodes with all sorts of different story arcs and one very large complex story, shoujo anime is a lot simpler. It usually wraps things up once the main story's done with. Sort of like Fruits Basket. Can't figure out how freaking weird this keeps falling down my shoulders. I don't know if it's supposed to be on my shoulders or not. I'm really confused. Now, if you were to take shoujo or shonen and add I to the end, you would have some same-sex love-ins. Shoujo ai, meaning young girls' love, is a genre for lesbian romance, whereas shonen ai, or young boys' love, is about gay relationships. However, because they are still in the shoujo and shonen demographic types, they feature a lot more fluff. They're very cute and romancy. They aren't explicit, and they don't really feature that many sexual elements, if at all. The manga Loveless is a good representation of both shonen and shoujo ai because it depicts these same-sex relationships in a very fluffy, lovey-dovey manner. For the more adult versions of this, there's yaoi and yuri being the lesbian relationship one, and then yaoi being the boys' love one. However, these are usually more like the trashy romance novels that your ma reads when she thinks no one's looking, but in comic book form. Now, shonen is somewhat related to shonen ai and shoujo. It features these freakishly pretty boys that are very, very sociable, and they typically have a hint of homosexuality around them, though it's only ever hinted at. It's implied, but they don't really act on it. There's a female side of this, of course, called shoujo, which has very, very pretty girls, though they are typically very fan servicey, and over the last few years, they've almost kind of developed a negative connotation to them because of that. Ouran High School Host Club is a pretty good example of what you would expect a shonen to look like. I think that is enough for now, so I am going to leave things off here. If you have any lingo terms you would like me to explain in the next video, please let me know. If there's another video type you want me to do, let me know, because I'm kind of running out of anime lingo and I'm starting to panic a little. Otherwise, you can find all of my social media as well as my Patreon in the description. Happy on birthday, and I will see you later. Bye!